Hello and welcome back to Odds Now. I'm Matt Hill and I'm joined by Brad Walker on what is Tournament Eve. It's finally here, Euro 2024. It feels like we've been waiting a lifetime for it. We've certainly been previewing it for a long time now, myself and Brad. But we're here for more, glutton for punishment, and we're going to be here for every day of the Euros as well. We're going to be delivering a daily betting briefing, looking ahead to the games on that respective day. They'll be going live probably the night before. So worth bearing in mind that obviously things can change between time of filming and time of kickoff. But that being said, hopefully we could guide you in the direction of a few winners and give our assessments on the games and just point you in the right direction when you're going to place your bets on each match at Euro 2024 if you are doing so. So this first one, obviously we're speaking on Thursday, the 13th of June. We're looking ahead to Friday's games, or game as it is, because there's only one match on tournament opening night. But what a match it is. The hosts, Germany, well fancied in this European Championship by many in the betting anyway, going to be taking on Scotland, who I think it's fair to say are less fancied, lower expectations for the Scots. But they're here again. Qualified in Euro 2020, didn't quite make it out of the group, but some, modest performances in defeat there. They'll be hoping to go a little bit better this time around. They are in a tough group alongside Hungary and Switzerland, who play each other on Saturday afternoon. But yeah, Brad, Germany and Scotland, two teams with, different expectations, as I touch on there. What's your reading of the two teams going into this game?
Yeah, like you said there, Germany, I think, are the more fancied by quite a long shot compared to Scotland, and rightly so. I think if you look at some of the players in the Germany ranks, the likes of Florian Wirtz, Jamal Musiala, Kai Havertz, all coming off strong individual seasons. Of course, they're one of those established nations, aren't they? They're always going to be up there with the favourites when it comes to major tournaments. Their first home tournament in 18 years as well, since the 2006 World Cup. They performed admirably, in that tournament as well, reaching the semi-finals, losing to the eventual winners, Italy. They'll be hoping for something similar here and even to go one better. And they'll be looking for a positive start tomorrow night against Scotland. A win puts them already in a strong position to top the group, which I think many people will be expecting them to do. And I hope he will then, for their sake, leave them on the other side of the draw to England and France. But focusing back on to this game, you mentioned there Scotland, they performed well in qualifying. Germany, of course, obviously didn't have to qualify as tournament hosts. But yeah, they are in a tough group here, Scotland. They're up against probably their hardest possible game they could have had, just because they're facing the hosts. And that it's going to be like a cauldron inside that stadium, I'm sure. I'm sure they fancy their own chances as well. Like I said, they perform well in qualifying, but ultimately it's hard to pick against Germany, on home soil.
And the odds definitely reflect that. Germany at the time of writing around the 1.3 mark on Betfair Exchange to win this game, which is, incredibly short. But I think, this home advantage is going to be interesting to see what kind of factor it plays. I was reading earlier that, teams who've played their first game at home in a tournament as the host nation very rarely win by over one goal. So it can be a cagey affair. There's obviously a lot of pressure and expectation on Germany's shoulders, but there may be a little bit of value as a result in that being factored into the market, because all said and done, there should be a bit of a gulf between these two sides. And I know that's kind of where you're leaning with your best bet here, Brad.
Yeah, it is. I think there is an element with Germany, though. I think we all are kind of waiting to see exactly what kind of shape they will be in. I think a lot of the tide turned in March when they got those big wins over France and Holland in friendlies. But they haven't looked great in their friendlies before this tournament. I think they were 1-0 down to Greece in the last game. They eventually turned that round. Granted, they improved a lot in the second half. But yeah, I still think there's some speculation about what type of performance we can really anticipate from them. But ultimately, as I said, you'd expect them to have too much for this Scotland side. In terms of the best bet, I personally picked out Germany to win, with both teams scoring. I do think Scotland will find the back of the net tomorrow night. If you look at Germany's recent defensive record, I think they've got 2 clean sheets in their last 14 matches, which is far from convincing. As I said, there was a difficult run of form, on the back of that Qatar World Cup and up until those recent friendlies in March. Scotland themselves, though, have hardly been watertight at the back. They've kept just one clean sheet in their last 9, but they have found the back of the net, fairly regularly. If you look at their qualifying campaign, they averaged 2.13 goals per game and failed to score on just one occasion. So I would back Scotland to come out to find the back of the net, and get themselves on the score sheet. But ultimately, I would expect Germany to have too much for them. And just for your information as well, Germany to win with both teams to score comes in at 9-4 at William Hill. With the best value there. But yeah, I would back Scotland to score, which, like you said, they only managed to do once at Euro 2020. So that would be a good start for them in the scoring columns. But ultimately, I don't see them threatening Germany too much overall.
Yeah, an interesting angle in there. I do think Scotland, this is a little bit of a free hit for them, isn't there? Not a lot of expectation around them getting a result here. You could see them going a little bit hammer and tongs. There was injury doubts over key players in Andy Robertson and Scott McTominay, but Steve Clarke has suggested both will be fit to feature, which is a massive boost to their prospects. They'd be really struggling without them. But yeah, this Scotland side for me, it's got its fair share of star players, but it's also got some, very middle of the road performers. And I think they will ultimately come up short against Germany. But that's the selection for Brad then. Germany to win with both teams scoring, which is coming in currently at 3.25 or 9-4, whether you prefer your decimal or your fractions. Obviously, a little bit of a shorter betting preview on this occasion because we've only got the one game to look at, but we're going to be right into the action, into the thick of it with 3 games on Saturday and 3 games on Sunday. The previews for those days will be going live very soon. So if you've enjoyed this video and you want to be a part of this throughout the tournament, our betting guides, then make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you give this video a thumb up and comment below with what your best bet is for Germany versus Scotland. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you again very soon.